is another matter, but we have to at least deal with that planning application that we have in front of us, the revised planning application tonight. You can't just defer it. The Sedgmoor have asked us for responses on it.
But that is an amendment to the original plan.
It is. It's not the original plan, this is the amendment only that we're actually voting on.
I know we're in uncharted waters. I think we have to, I guess that we could actually go back to Sedgmoor and say there was the option to say we can't make a decision at this stage because a number of people were quarrelling.
Yeah, I mean there's lots of things we can do, there's lots of things that we ought to do, but I think all of it has to be based around the decision that we're being asked to make on a planning application revision. I don't think we can just suddenly dive into a parish poll scenario until we've actually dealt with this particular application that's in front of us. I think it's jumping another stage ahead, if you don't mind me saying so.
Mr. Chairman, can I just ask, again, I'm sorry, Paul, if we allow this to pass based on the amendments, it's still going through as normal, and then a referendum is held, the results of that referendum, how will that be taken into consideration? Bob?
In terms of the planning process, it is not, and it never is, a numbers game. The planning authority and the planning officers have to make their decision based on the planning policies. And as we've said before, you can have a planning application that's supported by one person and opposed by 1,000, but if it meets the policies and it is within the local plan and it can be dealt with that way, then there's no reason for that to be turned down simply because lots of people vote against it.
But it's a principle of the benefit to the community that I think this hinges on.
You can't decide that if this is a benefit, that's the thing. Yes. Because no one has a one solution. Sorry, but there's no one big solution.
Hang on, please.
I mean, the argument about benefit to the community is one that is obviously something that has to be weighed up. I mean, the argument that you could make is that it is a benefit to the community because the community has been asking for the Fox and Goose Junction to be improved for a long time. There is no way that that's likely to happen in the short term through other means, and that therefore the proposal that's on the table, which was primarily to increase the safety of people leaving Brent Street and Hart Road from being sideswiped on the A38, was the benefit that the Parish Council had identified as to why it was feeling that was a way forward. It's very difficult with P4 sites, and I heard the comment made by someone earlier who said it will only ever happen when it's got the whole community behind it. That's not quite the way that P4 works, because having experienced other communities, you will have parts of communities that will back it and parts of the communities that won't. And we've talked on earlier occasions about the village of Pollitt and the fact that there was a major falling out there between parts of the community as to which particular site they wanted because it was not near them and didn't affect them as much as they wanted the other one. We've seen other ones recently in Mark where affordable housing P4 site again caused huge ructions and resignations from the people involved with doing the actual application because again, some people who were close to it didn't want it and others did. So P4 is never a universally popular thing. It's a question of whether there is a community benefit. And as I say, that is something that to some extent is worked out by each individual as to whether they think there is a benefit or not. If they believe that potentially stopping a fatality at the end of the A38 is a benefit, that may be seen as being good. Others may say that's not a benefit and that they would feel perfectly happy if at some future time that happened, that we hadn't taken that action. But I think there was a concern, and always has been, that if you have an opportunity to at least put an option on the table, which is in effect what the Parish Council did, and it put the ball in the court of the County Council to say, look, you're not providing this, here is a possibility of a way of doing it, does it work? Because we don't know. You're the ones who've got the the computer models and the things to work out whether it will fit in with the other proposals for highway networks. That's why that's the job of the county, to do that analysis. And as I say, if they came back and said, actually this thing does not stack up, then it falls because we were wanting it because it was being an improvement.
Sorry, we don't take questions during the meeting. I think the other issue though, Bob, is recognising that if, as a council, if we took a decision, it does not prevent members within the village bringing forward a request for a referendum. They have the right to do that, to call for it.
It certainly doesn't stop that. The only thing, and again, rather like Owen, I'm in slightly uncharted territory here. My understanding from parish polls that I've heard of before, they tend to be, a number of them have cropped up on things like people who wanted to be a nuclear-free zone or people who wanted to leave the EU was the most recent number of them. My understanding is whilst they are carried out and will be paid for by the parish council through the parish precept, I don't believe they're actually binding on anything. I think they are an informative and they would express an opinion. It wouldn't actually have a binding impact on the planning process or anything else of that nature. It is simply a snapshot of opinion. It's not a binding vote. So I wouldn't want to give people the idea that somehow the parish poll would come in and Sedgman County would suddenly turn around and say, well, that's fine, it's all turned down because a parish poll has said a result.
That's quite right, it's not a binding decision.
But it could be a comment to the council, the parish council, and we are reflecting the village.
I just still have no chocolate.
So,
As you know, I voted against it last time, and my feeling is still the same. We do want improvements on that junction, everybody knows that. But this particular scheme, I think, is inappropriate. 14 houses on that area is totally, in my opinion, misplaced. So that's why I voted against it.
anybody else want to make any comments?
I think just one small point. I mean, clearly people have been talking about the A38 junction, and there are many people in this room, certainly people who are standing, who were on this council at one time or another, and for at least there's a long time experience, probably about 100 years worth of experience amongst councillors, that the A38 junction has been a major problem. And as Bob has pointed out, as Colin has pointed out, this scheme came up as a possible solution to the village. And from that point of view, those people who supported on that pretext. Now, one thing is absolutely clear, is the A38 as a whole, right the way coming from Bristol down to the roundabout, is getting worse. You only have to go down Shipshelf Hill, you come all the way down. Every single person in this room knows that. That actually has got absolutely nothing to do with the village of Brent Knoll. All we are trying to do was to create a scheme which would help people in this village to enter and exit the village. The county council have got a major problem. They have got to sort out the A38 one way or another. Now, we are in no position to be able to comment on that, but certainly the county council has bloody well got a grip on it. And also, I know, listening to local radio about 6 months ago, I understand Bristol Airport is intending to expand, and Bristol Airport have said that they want a dual carriageway down here. Well, they couldn't actually possibly do that. They'll never get through Winscombe. So what they're going to do, I don't know. It is clarity. I mean, everybody in this room knows what you really need is another junction somewhere to take the traffic coming down from from Bristol and from entering and exiting the airport. So I think whatever we do, one way or another, the A38 will continue to be a problem. I'm not too certain that traffic lights, village traffic lights, we know that there's no possible opportunity for having a roundabout. That has been said for the last 20 years. But traffic lights are a possibility. The only thing is it going to work? I can't answer that. Nobody in this room can answer that. A proposal has been put forward, and the higher authority can make its judgment. And from that point of view, I certainly couldn't comment one way or another on the proposals on the table at the moment.
So, to progress, because otherwise we'll be here all night, can we have a proposal on how we can go forward? Do we support? Well, one proposal could be that our previous comment stands. Our previous comment stands, but we would advise Sedgemoor that there will be a village referendum. Possibility of a village referendum. Or, and I think the third one is that we defer our comments, and in the light of the outcome of a village referendum.
If you decide as council to defer them, then simply we're making no observations. What would happen is it would go in under no observations category as far as the planning authority is concerned. So in other words, the original view that was taken would be the one that stands with no observations on the revision. I think I'm pretty well correct in that assumption. So in other words, we're at status quo if you go for no observations, effectively.
Peter.
This is being heard by Sedgemoor, but it's county that have got complaints about highways, isn't it? So where is it going?
Well, the only application you have in front of you now is from Sedgemoor District Council, which is a revised planning application on the housing development.
We're communicating with Sedgemoor.
Sorry?
We're communicating
with Sedgemoor at the moment, not the county. There's no, this particular application has nothing to do with the county at the moment, at this stage. It's Sedgemoor District Council that are asking us to consider the revision of the applications that have been put before us to decide whether we agree or not agree, or whether we make no observations on those amendments that have been put forward.
Bob?
Chairman, just to confirm what Peter was saying, in effect, Sedgemoor has consulted us. They also consulted county, and in effect will have gone back to county with the amended plans, in effect asking county the question of does this sort out the concerns that you had and address those concerns. Obviously the applicant feels that it does. County will need to make up their decision, and then once they have done that, they would make a recommendation back to Sedgemoor as to whether they are supporting it or not.
So Sedgemoor makes the argument decision.
Sedgemoor makes the decision based on the feedback it's had from its consultees, and obviously the statutory ones, particularly to do with drainage, highways, and those are ones that they need to take on board.
So somebody prepared, for example, to say no observations. Can I have a
So can I have a
proposal?
proposal and a second on that, please?
That proposes no observation.
No, that.
Can I have a show of hands? That's a
Majority. So therein, that is the position that I will report back to Sedgemoor, is that we've made no observations to that application.
Can we advise them that there will be likely a parish referendum?
Yes, well, the first thing I can offer is that I will come back to you once I've ascertained exactly what the mechanics are of the parish poll, who needs to call it, what's the timescale, who's going to ask the question, how's the question going to be posed, who's going to set the question. There's lots of things to be asked. It's not just a question of a parish poll, because we don't know what the question is at this stage. So we've got to make that detailed analysis of it first before we can actually go forward on it. But I can assure you that I will look at it and I will communicate both with the parish council and those members that I have details of, as far as email is concerned, I mean, John, I've got yours, I know. I've got Becky's, I think, and I've got others. But that's, I think that's all we can say at this point, really.
My suggestion would be, if we do go down that route, that whoever sets the question ought to be independent of the village.
I say, I'm just...
I don't know.
Right on this, I'm sorry.
It hasn't happened before.
Referendum on what the question is.
So I think it's a simple question. Does a junction improvement provide a benefit to the village? That's
Sufficient benefit.
Sufficient benefit
to merit having 14 homes in an entirely inappropriate place.
And the other thing as well, if you're going to say caveats on things, why don't you turn around and stipulate that the road improvements are done prior to the development?
I said earlier that we're not going to have debates on this. We are talking. So I think we've finished now what we're going to do.
I think that application is now closed as far as this
The
meeting is
benefit of
concerned.
those standing at the back of the room, when will it be heard down at Sedgmoor? They can go down there and...
There is no date at the moment, I don't think, for this application to be heard. I would have thought, I don't know, Bob, is it probably going to be probably maybe September then, actually?
We don't know yet, because obviously until the consultation responses have come back from people like County, Sedgmoor can't make that decision.
Right.
But obviously for those who are taking an interest in it, I would imagine most have registered on the website. Once you do that, and if you follow the particular application, it will send you through notifications, and those who are registered at the moment will realise that there was a bit of a glitch this month, in that there was a notice came through, it was coming to committee on the 4th. That same thing will happen hopefully this time at the correct time, but there will be a notification when it's coming, if it's coming to committee.
Thank you. Right. In terms of the agenda, can we then skip back?
I think we will skip back to...
You say, thank you for being my
yeah,
have a whole suite
Yeah, I'm sure,
No, yes. No, they back down. I don't know why they don't just make it 30 miles an hour up there. Simple. Turn down the housing and make it 30 miles an hour.
And those who are not going to stay, please leave, because we have a meeting to continue. Otherwise, no, we're not going to.
I know.
Don't run away, Bob.
Yeah, please do.
Oh, what? Sorry. You should have come here now. It's not great, is it? I mean, it's not very we made this massive circle. So there's the back Can we push the door?
Right, we're going to jump back to update from Duncan, I guess. But before that, could we just have our councillors that sits on your working group just to have say a few words?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, very few words. It was agreed at a parish council meeting that we would take part in a housing project group. And Peter Osborne, Malcolm Borden, Cynthia Trickler and myself were nominated to be on that committee. A committee meeting was held and the minutes of that committee meeting are, I have in my hand, which outlines all the future, the formation and the terms of reference of that group. Should anybody want a copy of those minutes, Hester, you've got.
Yeah.
We've got the job.
Right. So, very briefly, we had our initial meeting, we've set out the agenda. There are one or two things which I just need to bring forward. There is a recommendation to the parish council. The council is asked to approve the formation of the Brent Knoll Station Road Housing Group Project Steering Group. Well, I think we have tacitly agreed to do that, yes, because we've already started. To approve the group's terms of reference, well, actually, ladies and gentlemen, please read the minutes. They're fairly straightforward. And then there was a recommendation to the parish council that members are asked to note progress as reported in the attached briefing paper. Well, the progress has been is that we've had our initial meeting. We've set everything in train, and going forward, the meeting will consist of Duncan and Esther, the four of us parish councillors, possibly the landowner, and certainly the developer. And so that is really all there is to say on that. And the only other thing, and I will leave this to Esther, because there is a Community Housing Fund grant award, which Esther knows all about, and she can explain quickly in like 2 minutes.
Nice dressed up.
Yeah, I dressed up especially. I mean, the steering group was a really good session. Members and we were able to have a lot of discussion around about what we were trying to achieve, and I hope members found it really useful.
Yes, very good.
Just in terms of recent activity, I just want to touch on it. Obviously, you know, we're still at the investigative stage, I think it's fair to say. We've had further what we call pre-application discussions with our planners. We're just making sure that whatever our thoughts might be, are we going wildly off the track, or are we there or thereabouts? We're not at the detail stage, it's difficult to comment too much. I guess the bit that Councillor Harper sort of wanted to touch on is the Community Housing Fund grant award from Sedgemoor District Council. And the Community Housing Fund it is a £60 million budget set by the government, and it's designed to encourage local communities to become more involved in the delivery of housing. And Sedgemoor, we made a cheeky little bid, and we managed to get just short of £500,000 for Sedgemoor, and we've got 2 tranches of that money. And because of the work that's been going on in Brent Knoll, we took a report to our executive to commit the first £250,000 of our allocation. And our members at executive, I'm pleased to report, are proposing to give Brent Knoll Parish Council, or award Brent Knoll Parish Council, a £30,000 revenue budget specifically to carry out a detailed stage 2 feasibility study of the land in Station Road. So when we talk about detail, we're actually getting down to actually physically looking into things that possibly a lot of people have raised to you as individuals. Certainly as a parish council it's been raised, and certainly at the community event we had previously, issues around highways, drainage and so on and such like. Again, as Bob said earlier, I'm no highways expert, no drainage expert. We're going to look into that and then come back to the steering group to say, this is what we found out about it. So there's £30,000, up to £30,000 to spend on a feasibility study. I want to talk about that in a moment. And we've also, the members at Sedgemoor have also agreed to make £70,000 available in the form of a capital grant should the project go ahead, in order to make sure the scheme is as viable as it can be, and that could be used to add additional issues, niceties for a better description to the scheme. So the money's there. That's all we simply say. What we talked about was principally one, and in your minutes, the recommendations are first and foremost to note the award of the £30,000 revenue grant, to note the award of the £60,000 capital grant, not £70,000 as I just said. I suppose from our point of view, Sentinel's point of view, the steering group were recommending that the Parish Council wish to accept those grants to go towards your Station Road project. Clearly the capital grant is subject to getting the thing going forward. And secondly, and I guess secondly, is we'd like to commit £22,000, or just over £22,000 of the initial £30,000 to E.G. Carter to carry out a detailed feasibility study. And in the briefing note, there is a list on page 4, highlighting about a dozen or so surveys and works that need to be carried out. So there's no direct cost to the Parish Council. That's coming straight out of the grant should you wish to accept it. And I guess the bit that we also need, assuming members wish to accept the money, of course, and assuming members wish to spend the money, as we're suggesting, is the method by which we hand it over for a better description. We put 3 options to your steering group. Option 1, putting it bluntly, was here's a cheque for £30,000, you go away and commission your own piece of work with whoever you wish. Option 2 was here's the £30,000, but you commission directly with the contractor, E.G. Carter. So you have a direct contractual relationship with the contractor. Option 3 was Sentinel will hold on to the money. All we ask of the Parish Council is to approve the start of those feasibility works to take place, and then when we get the reports back, not suggesting we need to understand what they mean at this stage, but to simply say that piece of work has been done. So all those survey works have been done and are available to look at, and then we as a local authority will pay Carter's direct. And I think the recommendation from the steering group was option 3 would be a preferred way forward. So they're really the questions that we wanted a decision tonight from members for, is do you want to accept the money? Secondly, are you happy that we commit £22,600 to those feasibility works? And thirdly, are you happy that we go for option 3 in terms of the payment method?
I guess as well we can agree to the other criteria that you've asked for, i.e. the terms of reference and that sort of thing.
Correct, if you would want to.
So can we have a proposal?
Well,
I don't think you, sorry, were you proposing?
Yes, I mean, all right.
I think you should propose.
Okay, fine.
Because you're on the steering group.
Yeah, okay.
I think I'm going to go on to it.
Yes.
Yeah, you're not on at the moment.
David's proposing.
You're not on at the moment.
But
I'll second it.
It was the steering group's wish that we came back to this meeting and proposed and suggested that that's the way we went.
We've got David to propose.
David's proposing, Colin's a second, can I have a show of hands? And this is a vote on all the points we've just made.
Option 3, going ahead with feasibility.
Using the money, agreeing the terms of reference, and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
We will be putting the minutes on our website as and when we can.
Yeah.
It's under reconstruction at the moment, but I don't know whether it's possible in the short term to perhaps make these available on the Brent Knoll website. I've no idea when the website's going to be available to update stuff at the moment. So, we're keen to make sure as many people understand what the steering group's up to.
I'll just scan it in and hopefully be able to get it just for
We can email it, that'll be fine.
Duncan, have we now got a potential date for next meeting? So
we haven't set one. My view would be let's get on and let's get Carter's doing the feasibility work, and once that's available we can then sit down and think what does that mean, because it may throw up some issues that we're not aware of. So I would suggest probably early September would be sensible.
I'm happy to accept the same venue.
Brilliant.
Bob, you had a question?
Yeah, it was just really was just say, totally agree with obviously the feasibility, as Duncan just said, it allows us to make sure if there are any issues that crop up, they can be seen as to what they are and whether how you can deal with them or not. The other thing I just wanted to put on the record was obviously, very much like what we were talking about earlier, my involvement obviously as the parish councillor involved with this process and the discussion we've just had means if and when there is a planning application that comes forward on that site, I'll be in the same position as I was on the Fox and Goose, which is, in other words, I'll be with the parish council, but I can't get involved at the district level. So just because obviously there was a lot of confusion and misunderstanding in the public last time around, I just want to make it clear from the start, as I did with the council last time, but my involvement will be with this at the parish level, not the district level.
Okay, thank you for that declaration. Was there anything else?
No, that's been a really good start, I think. Very good indeed.
And I think it would be useful, irrespective of the reports going to the steering group, if we as a council can see them anyway, which the steering group can bring it to our attention.
Of course we will, yes.
Absolutely.
I will take responsibility for bringing anything forward on the next meeting.
Lovely.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Have a good evening.
Duncan, thank you. Thanks, Esther. Thank you for your time.
Good night.
Good night. Thank you. So back to planning. Oh gosh. There's a strange light.
Do we go on to planning?
Yes, we're going on to planning now, Bob, so if you want to go and join the happy throng out there.
Thank you.
Now, the next thing is on my computer because there's a few wires earlier on, so I'm not sure that it's working.
Should we declare the interest, the steering group?
That's a good idea.
On the steering group?
Yeah.
Advise people via the web what is happening with that development, so that people are fully aware of what's going on. On the station road.
Well, we are going to put it on Station Road. Sorry, we're going to put it on our parish website.
Yes. Okay, so it is freely available to be looked at.
I think what we need to get Dave to do with the website is perhaps have a little box saying affordable housing updates as and when. Yes. So just so people can go straight in there and look at affordable housing. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Right, going back to planning, Cynthia.
Yes.
I think the first one we've got is 170019.
Which one's that?
Erection of a stable block in a agricultural building, Station Road.
Now, for those who haven't seen the plans, I do ask you.
Seen the steering group.
No, I've seen them.
That's in location. Yeah, seen the plans.
Those are out there. Okay. Right, just a minute.
So,
Get my notes because
access is up there. That's the property seeking. That's the property seeking the planning application.
yes.
Station Road.
What's the blue line? Is that
That's
the ground they own?
that's the current ground. That's the curtilage, I guess.
Yes, that's the curtilage of it, and right
Because they
down.
actually own that field anyway.
Yes,
Oh, sorry.
and it's right down the far corner.
Next to the other buildings.
What are those buildings down
Those
the
are
bottom?
barns.
Those are barns.
They are already there. Oh, no, sorry, that one. I think, Colin, that says proposed state. That's the proposed state. That's the proposed agricultural building.
Those other ones are standing.
Yeah.
So those are what we want.
Yeah.
That's what's already in
Yeah.
That was in the field before it was sold.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
right, okay.
No objections from neighbours?
Yes.
Comment online letter from neighbours. Yes,
That
well,
is
not
right.
exactly an objection, but a comment that he was concerned that obviously the change of use and there was sheep in there and are they going to be horses, and he thought
Wasn't the
it
one
might be
also
more.
making comment about machinery being left out?
Yes, and
he thought he would
he
have more
thought that-
machinery there.
Well, they've got machinery at the house, haven't they?
Yes.
He made a comment about that, yes.
Well, it is agricultural.
Yes, it's an and I suspect that that's what the buildings will be for.
That's his work.
That was only one basically. The environmental health
they gave a list of requirements regarding waste management and disposal of. And they said if they get permission, that list be attached to the planning certificate.
Okay.
And I don't think there's anything else. That was the comments and I read from the neighbour. That was more or less it. That was online, okay?
So has any councillors got any comments other
And
than?
it's fairly straightforward.
I think we.
It's agricultural land, yeah.
Yes.
And it is change of use.
Why is it a change of use?
Well, it
Because
said
it's
from
already been
agricultural.
used.
Yeah, it was from agricultural land to equestrian and agricultural.
I suggest we support it.
Any opposed, seconder? Any objections? All those
Can
in
you give me how grounds of support?
I'd say no observation.
Obviously, it's going to be.
Well, I'd rather agree with that.
No observations, I am.
Is that
Can I have a show of hands?
Can I propose a second on the observation?
So, David,
Brian John, second.
I'll second it.
Leon, second. And it's majority.
Majority. Okay.
One out the way then.
You've had your
Whoops.
What's the next one?
We've been given
We've probably done one for
00015, which is the steel frame building and maintenance for our maintenance workshop. West Country Homes.
That actually isn't in our area.
It's not in our area, and we've just been sent to it as a matter of courtesy because it's Broadbrent.
It's Burnham without Parish Council.
Yes.
The issue I think is I would propose, unless anybody has any other comment, that we have no comment.
Yeah, no
Very
observation, really.
Those, Brian, John?
Yeah.
Yes. Show of hands, thank you. Good.
And majority? Is that agree?
Is it majority?
Yeah.
Yes. And then 00017, 72 Brent Street.
Is that on the corner?
Right, yes. No, it's next door to the Hannahs. Yes, okay, let me get this, because I've got this one as well.
Can we have a location?
Location
No,
plan?
I'll just put
Yeah, the corner about
There. 12. There, 72.
What are they proposing to do?
Single story extension.
Oh, it's, yes, an erection of a single-storey extension to the southwest elevation. Well, if you, I've got the,
Where the arrow is, I think, Colin.
Sorry?
Where that arrow
No, they said
Yeah, no, I want to
southwest.
see an elevation.
Oh, yeah, so I think that's where it's going to be.
Moving final.
They said southwest.
right, okay.
Existing plan and elevation. That might be the very last one. The very last one.
That's the existing plan, as opposed to the proposed.
Yeah.
So that's what it looks like at the moment.
When they put the,
existing.
Yeah, you want the one before.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
That one. That's it.
it is going to, actually, it's going to
It's
be
that
forward
bit.
from
It's that
the,
bit there, Colin.
Oh, it's a sort of
On that
So-
right hand side, yeah.
we think that's going to bring it forward from the building line. You know, the building line with the other property. So
coming forward into the garden, isn't it?
yes, that's right. The consultees, Somerset Heritage, and no objection there. There is a letter from an interested party, which is their next door neighbour, who's are quite concerned because the development is close to the border, and I think maybe a bit of overshadowing is because it's quite a small plot. They are semi-detached.
Which neighbour? Which
Hannahs.
Hannahs.
They,
Yes.
they made
To the right.
Well, not a complaint, they just
No, no,
make
no,
an
no.
observation.
Is it the other half of the semi-detached, or is it the independent
Is that
person?
at the back or the side or where
It's
is
in
it?
the front.
It's in the front, at the front,
That
as you
sort
look
of
at the
V-
house.
Right.
The bit through.
So
Yes.
whereas the Hannahs is
To the
that
side,
again,
to the right.
without the triangle on the front, Bella,
Yeah.
the Hannahs is a repeat
Of
of
the
that.
others, yes.
Okay, so it's a small bungalow.
Yes.
I just feel that
It's a bit
it's a bit intimidating
I think
and
so.
overdevelopment
Yeah, I
of such a
think so.
small place.
Yeah.
But it is
Yeah.
the front of the property as well.
Yes, it is, and it will, and they're not very large plots.
No.
Anyway, and also one of the comments that they made, the Hannahs, was that the foul drainage pipe does cross the front of 72 Brent Street, and obviously they're a little bit worried about. Yes, I know, but they will, but they're just worried about it being damaged, etc. And basically, yeah, that's it really.
Can we have
I think
any proposals on whether we support or not?
Overdevelopment.
I think it's,
Loss of privacy.
yeah, I think it's lost privacy personally.
So the proposal is that we object or not support it.
And you have to mention, because it was something we looked at earlier, not that he was telling me what to say, but the building lines.
Yeah, but the thing is, why they want to build it there is because it faces the sun.
Yeah.
Yes, it's
So the proposal is we don't support on the grounds of overdevelopment,
Sunshine.
Loss of privacy.
loss of privacy,
And building line issues.
and building line issues.
Yes.
So we've got a proposer for that, please.
Can I have a proposal?
John?
John, seconded. Peter
Peter.
or Colin?
All in
They
favour?
were all voted.
Yeah.
Unanimous.
Thank you. And then we move further along Brent Street to 115, which is 0018.
Oh yes, this is yes, it's Tuckers. Now this is for erection of dwelling and detached carport.
Sally and Des.
Yeah, opposite the village hall.
Sally and Des Tucker next to Greyfields.
Yes.
All the plans here, there are substantial plans if you want to look at it, because obviously it's a new build.
Is this the one behind the house?
Yeah.
It is, this is the one that's being built behind the house.
And the lane.
Location plans for one.
Yes, please.
This is a double-storey house, isn't it?
Yes.
Well, they have applied for a
It's a chalet.
Yes.
It's a chalet. I think the design is more of a chalet collar.
Do you want to look at the
Where's the access?
Access is here.
Brent
Brent Street.
They've got a track inside
Brent
there.
Street, and there's a track coming down here.
Oh, yeah.
And that's where the site is, and that's the Torchwood.
Yeah.
And that's who's seeking the application.
I think the only interesting point about that is that for the last 40 odd years, there was a policy of no backfill in Brent Knoll.
Well, can I just read you what the kind of comments are? Standing advice from the highways, there was a letter from the Federal District Council from the planning officer, and he said that this was backland development, and it doesn't reflect the character of the street scene and pattern of development in the area. And he didn't, the two-storey dwelling he didn't think was suitable. He said a single story, if they had a single story, it would be then into the flood zone through, and then obviously if they had flooding they wouldn't have anywhere to go. But there was quite a long letter, and he said the design was not in keeping with the character of the area, etc. But his comments were that it wasn't in keeping with their core.
Yeah.
But the applicant
Yes.
has responded on the website. There was a letter from himself.
Oh really? I haven't seen that.
That actually he has taken the trouble to apparently cite similar examples of back building in the village. And he
There are buildings, there are other
which he is saying, therefore, this is not a precedent has already been apparently set.
Well, I suppose it depends where it is, you see, because I've got two behind me, but they're not in the same, but that is back, but then that was a brownfield site. But I don't know.
Were there any letters of comments from people?
Have neighbours?
No, I haven't got anything. I don't know. Yes, no, there was nothing from next door anyway. No.
I think it's only a recent one anyway. I don't think have time to
No, there wasn't any.
Right.
So basically, obviously...
I should imagine access would be a problem.
That is the only issue that I can see, because at the moment you've got a gate there for Torchwood, You've got a gate there for whatever this place is called.
Well, I would say the standing advice is that.
And that one,
They've got to come out.
Is it wide enough? I mean,
it's wide enough. It's wide enough.
Just supposing there's a fire at that house.
Yes. Could you get a fire engine?
A fire engine wouldn't get down.
And I think,
I just.
They don't worry
No.
about that.
Well, I've seen evidence of what's happened if a house burns out. This fire engine can't
I
get
don't
down.
think the same as you.
You know.
and I think there would be, because if it was a two-storey house and was given permission, it would definitely take privacy from the other side.
Peter?
Is it a shared drive because it goes back to the next property again, doesn't it?
Well, that I don't know.
No, it doesn't.
It's down to the
That
field.
one is an independent access. That one has got a gate there. That
Yeah,
one's got a gate
no, the
there.
next door up the village.
What, that one?
You mean
No,
the
down
fields?
there,
That
there,
one?
that's it.
No,
It goes around to there, and I think it's their lane.
no.
Oh, it's their lane.
Excuse me, I know you don't want any comments on the floor, but I think this is pertinent to what you're discussing at the moment. I just happen to be in a position to know that there are planning applications proposed for the next two houses along, and the lane you're talking about belongs to the house that's opposite here.
Well, Trish.
Can you say that one again?
But don't for God's sake put my name down.
Your vote.
The one with the fancy fence. I'm sure it's
So that lane there belongs to this property here,
right.
right, which is the one opposite the
That's
hall.
it, yeah.
They're proposing to knock that down and put, I think it's 3 or 4 houses in here. That's gone to planning.
Haven't seen it yet. But,
No, but it's, I know it's, they were asking, yes. And I know they were asking about one there.
Thank you.
Backfill has always been a thorny issue. The first person to get backfill in Brent Knoll is about 40 years ago. The previous chairman of this parish council was also chairman of planning. That was the first time. No, this was long before Box, 40 years ago.
Mr. Frost.
Mr. Frost.
Oh, yes, Mr.
He
Frost.
did.
So
We got one.
we're doing just the one.
Yes, at the moment, all we've got is that one there, which is highlighted.
No, I haven't heard.
That's-
You have to look at the planning
I
application.
have
No
no
merit.
I
As
propose
it
you
stands.
say no on access.
So the proposal would be, we can't support the application on the grounds of access.
What they call that, let's move on.
And there
Put
was
something on
yes,
the
come on.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
Overdevelopment of the site.
I'll support.
Oh, the narrowness of the lane, is it?
Well, we've said that on access.
so,
Yeah.
There are
So-
questions to be asked, aren't there?
Yeah.
what are we proposing?
We're rejecting this on the grounds of
Not support.
access and
Overdevelopment.
development.
So I'm voting on it. So who's proposing and seconding?
No
Who's
development.
second?
So you've got Colin
Got
and Bell.
loads of it. So
Colin and Bell.
and unanimous.
All those in favour?
Yeah.
Moving on.
And can we have? I think that's it now.
Oh, it is.
And can we have Bob back?
He's on the village green at the
Stop
moment.
playing on that.
Can we talk about the A38 now?
No, we've done that.
Oh, he's running.
Behave, Brian.
We're going to wait now.
He's always up.
So we're going to talk about the
Right. Thank you, Cynthia.
That's okay.
Yes, you can go home now.
Yes.
Peter, you're on.
You can either
All
knock
right.
and whistle.
Footpaths.
Most of them overground, especially at the top of the butters. That's terrible water. I jest. We've had 3 trees down during the last week. Top by the reservoir, one between Red Roos and one down behind Sheila Berry, David Sheila Berry. They've all been cleared now.
Chris has done this, yeah.
Yeah. The Bristol gate I had in the back garden has disappeared. I had 2 Bristol gates. Apparently they're both for Tim Cliff Jones. One's for Brent Knoll and one's for East Brent. So I had the man arrive this morning to erect the Bristol gate down at the side of the cider farm in the field that goes up.
Oh, you put that up?
Yeah. The fact is, the man came and he said, "Where are the gate posts?" I said,
Oh.
"I don't know." He said, "Well, they come in kit form, they supply the gate with the gate posts." I said, "Well, would you ring up Chris East and ask him where they are?" He rang Chris East, he said, "Somerset Council do no longer supply gate posts." So he said, "What do you want me to do?" I said, "Well, rather than we have to wait again, I'll give you permission to go and get some if you don't want to get them." So we went down to Mole Valley, and if you object to buying them for £94, I'll have to dig deep into my own pocket. That's the situation. I've had to send him down to Mole Valley to get Terry
Can I just have
Peter pays.
Can I have a proposal that we agree that we will pay?
Definitely.
Well, the gate is up.
Thank you, Peter.
The straining wire on the far side of the green has been attempted. I've had a look at it. It's far better, but not a perfect situation. And also the rails up at, what's the East Ride, is it?
Oh, yes.
Oh, East Ride,
Yes.
They've been put up to.
Okay, good. Thank you.
I also took him down alongside of Ivy Town Hall and showed him the other gate I've got in my garden. We put him in the fence, in the hedge there.
Where you go through to
Through,
the
yes.
horse field.
He said that is interesting. It might be a bit more because it's very rooty. He had to go down and said as soon as he takes the topsoil off, he's going to encounter roots everywhere. But he said he'll let us know, so you'll wait.
That's
The other thing I was wondering though, as to whether both these gates, I know one's at Brent Knoll, the other one in East Brent, as to whether we can ask Mr. Griff Jones for a contribution, or whether we just pay the £94 for the post. Having said that, we have put gates out for other farmers in the village and not charged them anything. I'd like the clerk to contact Mr. Tim Griff Jones and ask him if he can remove the gate from my property. But they're jolly heavy. Man arrived this morning with a lad that was on, the work experience. He wasn't even tall enough to lift the gate onto the roof.
So, just to clarify, Peter, just so I'm clear, you're asking me to contact Mr. Tim Griff Jones?
Yes, I've been in contact with him regarding, he said, "We've got two gates on, but when they turned up, I didn't know why we had two gates."
So can you let the other
I said, "Well, what's the other one for?" He said, "Oh,
No, is this Nigel at East Brent Parish Council?
yeah."
Yes, yeah, I've got his contact details.
Well, I don't even know if, it seems that Mr. Griff Jones has been in contact with Chris East.
Yeah.
They've arranged something between them, and I don't believe the council know anything about it over there.
Can you let me know his details?
Yes,
And
I'll send you his emails. Yeah.
Okay, anything else on footpath, Peter?
No.
Peter, you know at the top of that field where you've had to put the gate, that steeple field,
Yes.
because it's all gone at the top, as I walk down there regularly. You know, right at the top.
Yeah, there's a stone there.
Yes, well, there's not much of one. It's a bit of broken and there's a wire tucked here, there and everywhere. Yeah, right at the top.
The dog walk, I think.
Yeah.
Riddler where I see the dog.
Yeah, well, probably. But it isn't.
It's very difficult getting out there. There was some steps, but
yeah,
you have to have the council
I come down, I don't go up it.
If anybody was to fall down, if the owner, then you have to have the owner's permission. But they are steep. It's really dangerous.
It's dangerous there, but at the top, there should be a stile, but there isn't really. It should be just kind of, there is, but it's broken outside.
I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, it's not the end of the world.
It's what the Ramblers Association.
Oh, yeah.
Nothing else?
No, thank you.
So, in the absence of Malcolm, highways, has anybody...
I've got a couple of little points on highways, both on hedges. I think it was Colin who raised the point of a hedge in East Brent. As you were coming through East Brent, approaching around sort of rather blind corner, going towards Hill Lane, that hedge is not good. I don't know if we have asked.
Yes, I emailed Jim Murray, actually, the clerk. I don't know whether he's taken it up yet.
Well, it is not good. And then also, if you get to if you get to Ferro Corner and you're coming back into the village, the hedge around the old manor is encroaching out. It is awful, needs sorting out, and there are new owners of that.
Location exactly on that, John?
The old manor.
The old manor.
The old manor is, as you come into the village, you come from Barrow Corner, and you bear around, it's all terribly blind, you must be shaken back, bloody nearly a foot. Thank you.
Do we know the owner's name?
No, they are new.
It's Fiona and Simon.
I believe, because my daughter knows the family, I understand that the husband is the son of, I think it may be Home Farm.
Oh, yes, that's true. You know, don't you?
Who's that?
Fiona, she's just had a baby, but she hasn't told me what she's had yet.
What's the name?
It's a baby.
Yeah.
Brian. Do we know the name? Yeah.
Who's the owner of Diamond Farm? Mr. Farmer. Who? Hicks? That's it.
Hicks.
Simon Hicks.
It'll be
It'll be Mr. Hicks.
Brian.
It's the daughter.
Forgot what
She's
the-
married.
Two or 3 months ago I reported some potholes. I don't think they've been attended. One near Manor Ride Corner, one outside the tennis courts, and one down by Ivyclad Hall Corner.
Right.
They have been reported.
They've been
Oh
reported.
yeah, they have, but I don't think they've been attended.
I think, in fact, one of them has been marked, I think, already for attention, but I don't know whether it's actually been done yet. But I think one outside the
And the
tennis court.
surface outside the tennis courts is really bad for cyclists, particularly.
They cut the hedge, which was pleased me.
Just another thing on hedges. I did write to the owners of, I think it was the 3 properties in Station Road.
Yeah.
We weren't quite sure who was responsible for the hedge at the front, so I wrote to all 3 of them. So far, I've had one lady phone me who said that she will try and get a consensus with the other 2 owners. I've also had an email from
George.
Yeah, one of the guys who took a little bit of exception to my letter. In as much as his comment was, well, I wish you'd attend to other things in the village before you start writing to me. But anyway, I said to him, well, look, we take all hedges seriously. I've replied to the email, said that we take all hedge overgrown issues seriously. And if you could, so he's now told me he will deal with it with the other 2 owners. So hopefully that may have already been done.
Thank you.
Highways. Can you see on highways?
Yes.
Well, on Body's Corner, there's a sign which says slow. Now, I was walking up there the other day, and there's a line of cars right up to that sign, and you can't see it. All the parking, they put that sign there, and you can't see it.
We've asked for a white line on that pen.
Yes, they park, I know they're probably up at the chapel, but that sign, it's just wasted because
We have asked the police to look at the
sign.
parking there.
Yes,
Slow sign. So basically, you're saying the slow sign is covered by foliage.
Absolutely, no, by cars.
By cars.
By park vehicles.
Yes,
Brian, you were going to say something, I think.
No.
You forgot to say it.
No, I said potholes, I said. Yeah.
Oh, that's
Same to you.
right, that's the I blame the hay fever. Right, who did the village green?
Malcolm.
Malcolm.
The book is here. Let me tell you what he's written, if I can read it.
On the board.
June 13th. Toilet clean, everything working well. Behind toilet required spraying to kill the weeds.
Yes.
Top wire and lower fence requires tensioning. Well, that was one we'd already dealt with, wasn't it? We actually got a quote for greening good condition of the equipment. Brambles around fencing need cutting. So really just normal sort of stuff, really.
Has Jason indicated any time period for doing the trip hazards?
No, I had quite a long conversation with him. I said, what I'd like him to do really is to go around all of the play equipment, including the ones that further over, where those trip hazards were placed some time ago by Dave Welling, some years ago did it, didn't he? Put those wooden surrounds in and said, can you just do some temporary work on it
Well, it hasn't, the mugger is still, the area around the mugger I looked at tonight, and that's still a trip hazard. I mean, to be honest, councillors, we have a trip hazard. Yes, it's not the right time of the year to do it,